Fine. So, Laura Collins, if you could tell us what club you're from.
Yes,
please.
I'm from St John's, Tunbridge Wells.
Yeah. Okay. So you're one of our newer additions, I think, Laura.
We are, and actually on the screen is Rosemary Snook, who is also from St John's and is one of our coaches. And between us, we've embraced it. She's been booking courts, and I'll leave her to chat a bit more. But actually, you coincided with us being approached by Age UK, who were looking to get some funding. But I'll pass over to Rosemary, if that's okay. And Rosemary, because you have it under control, don't you? Although I go every week. I love it, even though touchwood at the moment I don't need it. I love it.
Right, Rosemary, come on in. Tell us the numbers.
Yeah. So we are quite new to walking tennis. As Laura said, we were approached for Age UK, and then kindly got the grant, and then obviously read that you were giving the grant, so the two sort of coincided, and we started off, and the club offered 3 free introductory sessions, which we tried to advertise, on Facebook, and out to retirement flats and what have you. I guess a little bit disappointingly, everyone who has come has been mainly club members or associated with the club. I think Age UK didn't quite get either the advertising out that they hoped. So anyway, we did the 3 free sessions and on a Tuesday afternoon, and we've continued with those throughout November. We've had probably about 10 people try it. A few of the sessions we managed to get 2 doubles going, as we had 2 courts booked, and the weather hasn't actually been in favour the last couple of weeks, so we've been down to about 4, and our last session is tomorrow. And then we're hoping to wait until the new year and the weather improves, and again with the help of Age UK and maybe the U3A, to perhaps try and get the advertising a little bit more out there, so that we can get people not just from the club coming, but so another 3 sessions we will offer, as I say, maybe the end of February, March, depending a little bit on the weather. But obviously being an outdoor club, but again, as the previous speaker was saying, we've put pickleball in, we've put the walking tennis in, we've got 2 new clay courts, so we are trying to keep up the numbers coming, joining the club, and offering all sorts of different sports to come in.
We also have added balls, or petanque, whichever you want to call it, and U3A are quite interested, but not really now. Everyone's sort of starting to talk Christmas, but maybe having a U3A group, a walking tennis U3A group that use walking tennis. But we've definitely got people interested too from rehabilitation, haven't we, Rosemary?
Yes, yeah. I mean, quite a few that have come can run. We do laugh quite a lot trying not to run. But 2 or 3 have had bad knees and what have you, and have wanted to cut down the running, but still want to come onto the tennis court. So I do feel it does very much offer, access to tennis for those that have got an injury. But again, it's getting.
I feel their pain at the moment.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think it's got it's got a place. It's just getting a bigger group, isn't it? So that to draw on. So 2 or 3 don't come on one occasion, it doesn't mean the group falls apart. So we just need to widen the base of people interested in walking.
Fine, brilliant. All right, Laura, thank you. Rosemary as well. Nick, Bexley Mencap.
Hi, my name's Nick from Bexley Mencap. I think, as Andy and Janice will know, we've been running a learning disability tennis group for the last 4 years now. Half the year we play at Bexley Heath Tennis Club, LTA Tennis Club, Then the other half of the week, in fact, on Monday, so this morning, we play at a boys' brigade in the centre of Bexley Heath. Play with softballs, nets at various angles. Because it's a learning disability group, all the members have learning disabilities. Some have physical disabilities as well, cerebral palsy, limited mobility as well. I have to say, and Andy's seen us at, we had an LTA match play event in the summer. We've been playing a bit of walking tennis without actually realising it, Andy, because it wasn't aimed originally 4 years ago as a walking tennis group. It was meant as a tennis inclusive group for all abilities, for people who had learning disabilities, and obviously had some physical disabilities as well for some members, not all. But probably two bounces is probably better, or most members are probably more familiar with two bounces in terms of just their sort of cognitive impairment or how they see the ball or not. Particularly outdoors, that they would struggle perhaps often to get to actual play a shot on a one bounce. So two bounce is probably more familiar with that. We didn't really apply for any walking tennis grants because we had some funding the last year for Dan Maskell and through the LTA or not. So it wasn't on that basis. So I'd be just interested to, the reason for jumping on was just to really get ourselves, our group, known in this format, because we are known to Andy and to Janice, but also just the idea of walking tennis as being something we're probably playing in many ways without actually realising it, Andy, probably.
Yeah, and it'd be good to pick up with Neil a bit later, because I said he's the open court lead for Hereford and Worcester, so Worcestershire. So he'll be able to maybe give you a bit of feedback on how sort of walking tennis develops with open court programs as well. Yeah. Excellent. All right, thanks very much, Nick. Vanessa, are we going to wait for James to come in, are we, or would you like to come in at this point?
Oh no, I'd like James to come in. Actually, is he not there? I saw him.
Yeah, it is.
I'm there. Yes, I'm here.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah,
James, please come in. When did you start your walking tennis programs?
Oh, sorry, James. Can I just say that I was just going to say, I'm Vanessa, I'm from Tankerton, Whitstable Tennis Club, and James is an absolute inspiration. He started the programme a couple of years ago. We already had an extensive disability programme for learning disabilities and physical disabilities. But James was passionate about pickleball. He initiated that, got that started, did the same in walking tennis. I think everybody's been signposted to James at some point. It's absolutely incredible the work he's done. And I went for the first time last week and was absolutely blown away by the individual stories of some of the players who, and I think what James has done so well is involve the community, not just the membership, but he's actually gone out and found players from within the community that wouldn't necessarily have picked up a tennis racket ever, in addition to those that were injured or had physical limitations. So yeah, but James will tell you more.
Yeah, okay. James, tell us more.
Okay, follow that. Thank you, Vanessa. I set it up in June 2021, so we're 3.5, I guess. And it's just grown sort of exponentially. We've now got 50 members on a WhatsApp group. We play twice a week for an hour and a half. It's very social. It's great fun. It's exercise. And it caters for everyone. Totally inclusive. No one is refused. Everyone is supported. We help one another. And basically a lot of people just love it. They turn up in all weathers, however cold, even if it's raining. We've had frost swept off the court. We've had snow swept off the court in order for people to play. People just like it.
Well
That's my message.
Yeah, no, fine. I'm sure you'll come back with a few more messages by the end of the call. Rob from Mepham.
Hi, good evening. Yeah, I'm at the same club as Andy at Mepham, and we started walking tennis in April. We went to various retirement groups, predominantly U3A, which was quite eye-opening because I'd never heard of U3A before, about a year ago. So our walking tennis has been successful. It's we've got probably 12 to 15 people on a WhatsApp group, of which we have about a core of about 8 or 9 that come. but each week it does vary between 4 and 8. Last Thursday, interestingly, the coldest day of the year, we had 11. So just backing up James's message that whatever the weather, these people come along, and I totally support the idea that a lot of these people, they're saying that this is their tennis fix for the week. That's what their term, and they actually love it. They love it. I don't think we're quite really playing with the walking tennis rules at this stage. I'm trying to stop people running too much, but ultimately they're really enjoying it, and so the whole thing's evolving. And I think for 2025, we can build on what we've got and promote it to wider groups in the Mepham area. So it's a success story for us.
Excellent. Thanks, Rob. Janet, can I move to you now? In Hartley, is your walking tennis group set up yet?
Yeah, it is set up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really been down to the fact that our coach, Mark, has been prepared to run it, and he does it free of charge as well. So he's been the motivation behind it. It's still a small group, run on a WhatsApp basis, but it has introduced other people that wouldn't have played tennis to the sport. And but I still think there's a bit of a barrier about people, feeling that it's a bit it's not quite what they want, or they're so set in their ways of playing tennis that they'd rather struggle to play tennis on a full-size court and hardly move than accept that this might be a better alternative game for them. So I think there's still a bit of work to be done in convincing people that this might be a better alternative.
Yeah, that's a fair assumption, Janet. Yes, absolutely. Thanks very much. Rob, is your walking tennis group set up yet at Wickham Park?
Yeah, we started walking tennis largely because of the Kent funding and the coffee morning that I went to. I think you said it was in January.
Yes.
So it's a combination of those two things, and one of our members who couldn't really play tennis was trying to, but she couldn't run anywhere, so it wasn't really working for her. So I largely set it up for her, but she's now not carried on. We've got varied people. There's one end of the scale, we've got a 92-year-old who used to play a reasonable level of tennis, but walking is even a bit of a struggle, so he comes along. And then we got at the other end of the scale some people in their late 60s that have never played tennis before in their life, so they've all enjoyed it. One of the slight difficulty we've had is with one of the people, I don't know if anyone else has had this, who's is a bit older, and because we run it through Club Spark at the moment, and so he's had a lot of trouble trying to set up his account. I've tried helping him a number of times on a Zoom call, but not been successful. But it's only one, and he just leaves me some cash when he comes. Mm-hmm. I advertised it. One of the good things was because Wickham Park is connected to the Park Langley Club. I was at Park Langley and they have a Rotary session there, and I just went and hijacked the meeting and told them about it. And so they brought someone came from that and brought someone else with them. And then one of the ladies, I can't remember how she heard about it, but she's prolific and got about another 3 or 4 people. So we've got 13, no, probably actually 11 people on a WhatsApp group, and we get somewhere between 4 and 8 players coming along. We've got one of the members of the club goes along, who's quite an experienced, has done some coaching. He goes and helps out sometimes, and if there's a new person coming on one week, either he will be there or I will be there, assuming that we can be. One of the people came from Parkinson's that I advertised through. And then because I'd started at Wickham Park and Park Langley being connected, they asked me to come along and do a demonstration at Park Langley. And they're in the process of trying to get it going. But I've forgotten who it was that said it. But one of the difficulties with that is that they largely set it up for people that are coming along to a tennis club session who aren't at a level that can really join in with that because of their mobility.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I was after the demonstration, I was talking to them and trying to encourage them to come along to some walking tennis. Didn't really want to. They wanted to carry on struggling with regular tennis, which isn't really working because, you know, if you've got a group of people playing in a club session that can run, can, you know, move around and play tennis sort of on even at a low level, but, you know, a normal game of tennis, if you've got one or two people around that can't really move properly, it just stops tennis from working because you've got to be at a similar level.
Yeah.
Whereas the walking tennis, it actually works even with different levels. It's more of a leveler.
Yeah, no, thanks, Rob. Yeah, thank you. Good insight there. David, is it Broadstairs, is it?
Hi, yeah. Hi, Andy. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah, we started about 18 months ago. You had something on Kent LTA, one of the coffee mornings, about what James was doing. So I pestered him, and he very kindly invited me up to sit in on or play in one of the Whitstable sessions. I was made so welcome, which is quite unusual because I'm a miserable bugger. And so I came back to Broadstairs, and I was really impressed, and put a few ideas together. And we've got 12 paid up members. Our club are quite mercenary, so they pay half the full subscription, which is about £110 a year. They're playing 3 sessions a week, one of which is a coaching session, which they pay for. They don't pay for the use of the court, that's done, but just they pay for a coach. They have a WhatsApp group. They started that very early on, and they're really tight. They work together. They organise Christmas parties. Within a few months of getting going, it's been very impressive. We've got people totally new to the game. In fact, one of the ladies who first came to it is now the fixture secretary for the whole tennis club. And she's never played tennis before in her life, so she's really into the whole club setup, which is great. And yeah, we've got a variety of levels. We've got people who've played a lot, people who've never played before, and we've had about 3 members who occasionally go and play normal tennis just to try it out. Everyone's got emphysema. They just got to take it easy, but they go to real tennis with the others, full club members. And we've got people like me. I had a new knee in April. I was doing walking tennis in August maybe, and I've just had my other knee down. That's why I'm lying backwards. So Andy,
join the club.
You're not alone. But the fact was that I could then go on court and say, "Oh, you're running. I'm going to trying to stop the buggers running around." Because I take James Brown's view that the whole thing's about fun. If someone wants to skip and jump, you don't worry about that. That's the whole ethos of just having a good time. And so I was very curmudgeonly and finding people for running because I couldn't. They go. But it's been a really good. I mean, I was playing twice a week, and so the rehab part of it was good. And I'll start again probably in April. So I'm 100% behind it. We've got people coming from the club now who are reaching the end of their playing. They're not too proud to move to it. I agree there is a position some people have, it's beneath me. I'm competitive. I want to do that. But eventually we've had few people realise But they want to carry on playing tennis. Walking tennis is the way. And I can't speak too highly of it, especially what James has done.
Brilliant.
Well, we had two very nice social sessions with Whitstable. They thrashed us, the buggers, but it was.
They've been playing it a bit longer than everybody else. Excellent. Well done, David. Thanks very much. Andrew from Harrietsham, welcome. Is this just a learning curve for you today? Is it?
It is very much.
Yeah.
Greetings to everyone, and so we don't have a walking tennis group, but we're keen to expand into that. And we only have grass courts at Harrietsham, which obviously limits winter usage, but we do have a good village hall where we can play mini tennis indoors, which we could try with softball, perhaps walking tennis. In the village is interesting because there are health walks, and these are promoted quite heavily by the local medical centre. So I thought if we had health tennis, we could also get a little bit of promotion perhaps from the medical centre. The other thing we do have nearby in Lenham, which is the next village down from Harrietsham, group called Lenara, which is Lenham Active Retirement Association. So again, there's people there who, maybe a bit like the U3A that we could tap into. So we haven't tried promoting anything yet because obviously we want to get a good grip for what it's all about, really. And it's encouraging that groups have started off and have all done very well. So we look forward to having a go.
And congratulations on your centenary this year, Andrew. So,
and thanks very much for your help and Janice in making it a success. We had a great time, and we've extended into a lot of extra families and got a lot of children, I think over 60 through the coaching sessions that we're able to offer. Yeah. So now we're sort of looking right through the spectrum, really, from children, families to us older ones as well, And
it's just nice that we hear from a seasonal 3 grass court club. So well done for keeping it going, really. Well done. Can we move on to Tracy Connor now? What club are you from, Tracy?
Hello, hi there.
Hello.
I'm so sorry about the video thing. I can't get it sorted out. I'll definitely appear next time, unless you can see me. No, all right. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
I'm a member at Avenue Tennis in Gillingham.
Yes.
It's more of a tennis centre than a members club in the way people have been describing. I've been a member there almost since it opened about 7 or 8 years ago, and I had an illness a couple of years ago, and I was told I wouldn't be able to come back to tennis because I couldn't walk. But obviously, like by picking up the walking tennis, as other people have said, it increases your mobility. You get people involved socially. I'd say we've probably got a similar kind of number in our walking tennis group. I.e. perhaps about 10 to 12 people in our WhatsApp group, and I'd probably say about 7 of us normally turn up once a week. So I've got the club now to book us out a regular court, so we play on a Friday for an hour. That's the extent of what we do, and I'm just looking to encourage the ways for the club to expand that. So I'm just kind of taking on people's ideas tonight, really.
Yeah, I know.
But all the things that people have said already have resonated. Things like how some people think that walking tennis is beneath them. We've had a few people that have turned up for one session because they've got an injury, but they haven't come back. And you see them clinging onto the bottom rungs of real tennis, if I can put it like that. So we're just trying to normalise it a bit, really. And it would be really great to have some more interaction with people outside of our club.
Yeah, no, you're more than welcome tonight, Tracy. So thank you.
Thank you.
Pam, you're with Daphne at Bexley. Graham, I think you're up next.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'm connected with Y Tennis Club, which is a club 6 miles north of Ashford, and I was first aware of walking tennis through Kent LT and Andy inviting me up to Whitstable about May time, wasn't it? And I must admit, I was so impressed. And although walking tennis, people think you have to be elderly or in not good physical shape. Actually, they were having the coaches there and even able-bodied people who can run around can really even have a good game doing walking tennis. It's very good. So I've been contacted U3A again, an organisation that I hadn't heard of, and they were very, very receptive. And they put out the call, and they had 36 people wanting to play, and so we let them have 3 courts every Wednesday, and the LTA grant of £200 was very well used because we got our coach to do 6 weeks of 1 hour lessons to get everyone up to speed. So we didn't charge U3A, and now we charge them £15 an hour for each court. So it's a win-win, and we leave them to invoice us or to advise us how many courts they've used, how much time they've used, and they say, right, we owe you £350 after so many weeks, which is very good. And also now, whenever we get any interest in our walking tennis, we now advise them to contact U3A, and they run the sessions themselves. So for us, it's using our downtime because our Wednesday afternoons are really quiet, and it's really been a huge success, I have to say. And yeah,
well
that's all
done.
I have to say, really.
Yeah, thanks very much, Graham. What regular numbers are you getting there at the moment, Graham?
We get, well, they've limited it. We have 24 every week, but it could be more. But
Wow.
yeah,
Good. Lisa at Sundridge Park, welcome.
Hi there, hi everybody. Excuse my croaky voice, I've had a bit of a cold. So I'm from Sundridge Park, fixtures secretary, and also assistant secretary to the North Kent District League. So we at Sundridge run, I think, just 1 session a week on a Thursday afternoon, which we have about 6 to 8 people coming, mainly coming back, like a lot of you, from injury. We do have our ex-club chairman who has Parkinson's quite badly. He also attends. They already enjoy it. As I say, it's open to non-members. It's run by one of our coaches. And I'm afraid to say I don't sound as knowledgeable as the rest of you because I don't have as much involvement, but I was quite interested just to hear what other clubs were doing as a member of Sundridge Park, but also, Andy, as you know, on the North Kent side, I thought John Ratcliffe might be attending tonight, but we have decided to possibly set up a league for next summer, which I know is something that we need to perhaps think about a little bit more with on behalf with Kent Tennis. But I was just quite interested to hear about that and to see, you know, perhaps whether people also had views on playing tennis leagues, sort of, or whether other clubs would are interested in playing friendlies, because I think our guys mainly at Sundridge would be up for doing that, because I think it's be great socially just to meet other people from other clubs and yeah, sort of playing the same thing, because we run we also have a partnership with Marjorie Curie on the tennis side, and for a learning disability course for paddle as well. So it's all, yeah.
Oh, excellent. All right, cheers, Lisa. Thank you. Tracy, I don't know what club you're from. Apologies.
No problem at all. Good evening, Andy. Hi, Janice. I'm Tracy from Hydel Tennis Club in Kent. Bit of background for you. I had both my knees replaced before I came here in 2017, and since being at Hydel Tennis Club, I've had both my hips replaced. So walking tennis was very, very interesting to me. We started originally with Age UK in Hythe, and I think it was 22, 23. Me and one of our coaches went down to their indoor unit at Hythe, and we had between 4 and possibly 8 people playing walking tennis with red nets and red balls, and that kind of fizzled out. And it's something that I've always been really, really keen to get going at Hythe. And then we spoke to Hythe Dementia Forum and we've had a regular group of up to 20 people, both dementia patients and their carers, coming to Hyde once a week during the spring and summer for walking tennis. And that's on a Wednesday afternoon between 3 and 4. And then during the autumn and winter, tennis stops, but they do continue coming to the club so that the patients remain familiar with the club and the coaches. And then they start again in the spring and summer the following year of actually playing tennis. But then I think Janice invited me to one of these forums, Coffee Mornings, and they were talking about funding for the walking tennis. And that's just something that steered me on that, and speaking to James. Thank you, James. And I also think I spoke to Vanessa, I think, at the LTA Awards last year.
Yes.
And that kind of, it got me thinking again about really getting something going. Long story short, we started our program on the 7th of October. All I did was, it's all through Club Spark. So I created a website page, we promoted it on Facebook. And from that, we've now got 14 regular members, 2 of whom are members who hadn't renewed this year but have come back because they are elderly. And the rest are new people, and 7 new members out of that as well. So as I said, that started on the 7th of October. We had to cancel the 14th and 21st due to rain. 28th of October, 4th of November, we've had between 6 and 14 people. Today we had 6 because it wasn't a particularly nice day, but a really, really positive group. What I'm doing at the moment is I'm sending out an email to them all on a Friday. And those who haven't booked already on the Club Spark platform, I basically send out an email saying how everybody is, who's booked for Monday. Those who haven't booked, either book online or let me know and I'll book them manually. And then I'll just do the rota. So I organise 3 sessions of 20-minute sessions, and then 15 minutes of tea and coffee afterwards. And it's going really, really well. Absolutely amazingly well. I'm delighted, and I'm hoping that, a long story short, I had a meeting in Hyde on Friday night. One of our current walking tennis members is a U3A member. She spoke to somebody who I actually happened to meet on Friday night, and U3A in Kent have got 800 people.
Oh,
So
wow.
we could start another session just for them in the new year. In the spring.
It's good that it's working for your club. It's good work. Good, it's good rehab for you, like it is David
That's
as well.
amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Excellent. Thanks, Tracy. Colleen, again, sorry, apologies. I don't know what club you're from. So can you introduce yourself?
She's from Bexley.
Oh, that's it. That's better.
So I'm from the Bexley Club with Daphne and Pam.
Yes.
And started off the walking tennis. And again, we've got 15 people that dip in and out, and probably about 12 that play on a more regular basis. But we have people, the eldest is 86 and the youngest is probably mid-60s. But it's a way back as well for anybody that's been injured to work their way back to being able to play social tennis. We have one member who had a heart attack, but is now able to play the walking tennis and the social tennis. We have people with hip replacements, heart defibrillators, whatever there is, if we can get them in to play, because it's not just the playing, it's the social side. And also it's being able to enjoy the game. We don't play competitively, though some of us do, but it's still good fun, and that we just have a laugh. And that's what it's all about. We take the mickey out of each other, and people come and join. They stay with us. They love it. My only regret is that we didn't start it sooner, and that I didn't find it sooner.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But you found it now, Colleen. That's the main thing.
I have,
So,
yes.
Well done. Well done.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And then finally, we've got Bob Patterson again. Bob, sorry, I don't think we've met before, but what club are you from?
Yeah, I'm also from Bexley.
Ah, okay then.
So
4 from Bexley.
I didn't try and get it on my laptop, but I was, because I'd gone in, I guess, on my wife Daphne's.
Okay. Okay.
Hard.
Fine. Okay.
Anyway,
yes.
I joined really to go along to support Daphne, but then I actually ruptured the quad tendon in my knee back at the end of June, and so I'm essentially on the way back to trying to play, tennis. But the walking tennis is really good. I mean, we play. I mean, I generally play once a week. Colleen, who just spoke, she's one of the keen ones. She plays about 3 times a week. But when we go down, it's really a good way to enjoy playing tennis, and the tactics are very interesting. It's actually probably more like playing chess than it is
I agree.
playing tennis, because when we play normal tennis, the idea is to probably hit the ball as hard as you can, and of course in the walking tennis we stand by with glee and watch people's balls going out the back of the court before they bounce twice.
Yes.
So it's really, in that sense, it's really great fun. But as has been mentioned, the social aspect of it is really excellent, and we have a great laugh on the court and off the court. So for people who, I guess we may enter a league if one materializes, but I think the whole thing really is to not take it too seriously and to have fun.
Yeah, thanks very much, Bob. Thank you. All right, well, that introduces all the clubs. So I'd like to introduce Neil Bates now. As I said, he's the open court lead from Hereford and Worcestershire county tennis. But how are we all faring, Neil? Do you think it's what you're hearing from our clubs in Kent is very similar to what you're finding in your county?
Yeah, well, firstly, thanks for the invite. It's been a while since I've been down to Kent. It's a little bit easier this way than it has been in the past, I must admit. Yeah, probably a very quick 60-second introduction from me. I'm an ex-engineer, power industry. I used to travel the world fixing power stations. Retired 2023 to do a lot more of the tennis. So I sort of carry 3 hats really in terms of the experience side. I am, as you rightly say, the open court lead for Hereford and Worcester, and helping with Gloucestershire, and helping with Nottinghamshire, and helping with Shropshire, and helping where anybody else they want me to go and look at, which is one of the reasons I retired. I'm also the ex-chairman of a 450-member tennis club. So I can also see, especially when it comes to paddle, inclusion, walking tennis, I can wear that hat from the club side in terms of the benefits and the potential pitfalls, positives and negatives from tennis clubs, some of which I've experienced myself, and I'm sure there's people on this call that might have experienced a little bit of hesitancy, shall we say, in the past. And I'm also a qualified coach. I had to pass my coaching exams because I actually now run a park. So we have a park in Droitwich where I live, where we have about 100, 120 people a week come and play tennis from aged 3 up to, I think our oldest is now 89 on the walking tennis. So I came across walking tennis five years ago, late 2019. I went down to Bristol and met a guy called Peter Conglio. If you've ever heard of him, he was the guy that set it up with Helen.
Oh, right. So
Helen was the tennis expert and Peter was a physio. And that's where the two came together, and that's where the walking tennis started. I then drove back up the M5 back to the Midlands pretty much with my mouth open all the way, thinking, why is this not in every club? Why is this not? Why have we not got 1,000 tennis players across the country playing this? Because it is so inclusive and so open to so many people to get back on court or to get on court for a first time. It was absolute game changer for me in terms of another variant of tennis to sort of bring back to the Midlands. So we got going in late 2019. We then had a minor hiccup with 2 years of shutdowns following that. So we started again back in 2021. And to be honest, we benefited from the post-COVID bounce. We had a lot of players at the start. We now have, I'm just looking at the figures because I'm a bit of a sado with my figures. We've got at the moment 169 players across 10 clubs in the county. My group is 42. So I have 42 walking tennis players down the park. Wow. Interestingly enough, in addition to that, we also have a dedicated U3A group, which is what I heard one or two people mention as well. I'll come on to that in a minute. That's worked very successfully. And linking into those groups, not just with Droitwich, but with the other ones as well, we do now work with people like Headway, Sense, Parkinson's, British Heart Foundation, to bring those people into playing tennis as well from a rehab perspective, just a general health point of view. A lot of these people, a lot of these guys think their sporting days are over. And walking sports, not just walking tennis, but walking sports is a great avenue for them to come back into activity. But one of the biggest things I've found talking to people is the fact that, I don't know what it's like in Kent, but round here, it is pretty much walking football, walking netball, walking hockey, of which you need 20 people to have a session. You know, you need 2 teams, 3 teams to have a session, whereas tennis, you can get away with 4. So we seized on that as a county to sort of push that word out there, and it's worked quite well. Age range, my players, mid-30s. I've got a couple of players in their mid-30s, up to 89 is my oldest. My average age is 74, so that probably fits in with most of the groups that you guys have been talking about today. So we do work with the U3A. They're interesting. Yeah, they are interesting. But I'm honestly, I'm sat here gobsmacked. I've written lots of words down. I'm going to start with chess. Who was it who said chess? Game of chess. Yeah, absolutely. And a very, very good point about the perception of the game being beneath tennis players. Something I've experienced a lot. I've generally found when setting up groups, it's been easier to recruit people who are not tennis players, who played tennis 20, 30 years ago, than try and convince existing tennis players. There's a lady I know, I just call her Exhibit A, who is a team captain at a local club, ladies team captain at a local club, who has not played tennis for 4 years. She's still the team captain, which is great, and she won't play walking tennis because she still sees it as beneath her because it's not proper tennis. She will never play tennis again. And if you ask her, she said she'll never play tennis again, but still won't play walking tennis. It's quite strange. So yeah, I've experienced that. But other than that, seriously, what's going on down there is incredible. I tend to focus more on the north because the Midlands, from an LTA perspective, comes under the north. So I'm quite au fait with what's happening in the northern half of the country. But I don't really get much information in terms of what's happening down south. But this, what you guys have just been saying is absolutely everything that walking tennis is and should be about. Totally inclusive, totally open to anybody, fun with a capital F, capital U, and capital N. The social side, in my opinion, is probably just about more important than the actual physical activity as well. I sort of call it a 51-49 in favour of the social activity. We have what I've christened Flapjack Club. We're very lucky with the park. We've got a lovely park, and we've got a lovely cafe 200 yards away. And I've christened it Flapjack Club, where they all disappear afterwards. And the social aspect is fantastic because you've got people that have lost partners in the last couple of years. We've got people with health issues, with just social isolation issues in some cases as well. I have a lady come who suffers from Parkinson's, and it's 1 of 3 times that she gets out in a week. And it's really important to her to get out of the house and just interact and talk with other people. And she's a bloody good tennis player as well, walking tennis player, which helps. So yeah, honestly, everything that's been said so far is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Where we are at the moment, leagues is very interesting. We can talk about leagues for those that are interested in getting that sort of thing set up. We've moved this year, this summer just gone, to a lot more inter-club play. And we've also this year moved a lot more to inter-county play. So we've had Hereford and Worcester versus Shropshire and Cheshire. We've had Hereford and Worcester versus Gloucestershire. And next month, December, we've got Hereford and Worcester versus Gloucestershire, Oxfordshire and Wiltshire, which sounds rather grand. It's
County walking tennis players, Neil. That sounds very grand.
Yeah, it's all about the cake. It's all about the cake. It's not regional tournaments, LTA style. They're not sending 6 players each that are the best players in the county. It's all about meeting more people, having more fun, just getting out and playing more and more walking tennis. So it's very, very interesting. We found with leagues, it'll be interesting to see how it develops with you guys. We found with leagues that even our better players did not want them. And they didn't want them because of the commitment to playing 6 or 7 matches a summer or a winter or whatever. They just liked the idea of getting a match arranged against Club B, going to Club B, having 2 or 3 hours worth of walking tennis and the tea and coffee afterwards, and returning the favour later in the year. So that's what I mean. That's not anything I've pushed or any preference from my side, but that is what we found the players generally wanted. And then that stepped up to the county side, where now they don't mind driving an hour to Shrewsbury to play indoors at the posh Shrewsbury club, because again, they make an afternoon of it. They meet another 10 or 15 players that they've never met before. And again, the tea and cake and the social side just shines through. So it will be interesting.
Neil, just a quickie. What kind of format do they play the friendly matches in? Is it full sets? Is it fast 4?
We generally do 4 games. We do a lot of mix and mingle, as I call it, where you play 4 games with your partner, 4 games against. The ones I generally organise, because you can get an imbalance of obviously men and ladies, I quite often will just mix people up randomly in terms. So they get to play, at the end of the day, they're getting to play with or against as many different people as possible. So they're getting to meet as many different people as possible. If I do a competition, and I always try and do something with a cheap Cadbury's medal, as I call it, or something like that, just for a bit of a laugh, it's based on an individual game score or something like that. And then a couple of but yeah, seriously, it's really refreshing. Everything that's been said so far is so refreshing. It's so nice to hear that as a county, rather than just the odd club or two, that you've got, is it 18 clubs, did you say? 18?
Yes, 18 clubs, yeah.
And you've just got going, you've got another, you're doing all your planning now and you're doing all your thinking now through the winter to hit springtime 2025 running, if you'll excuse the pun. And I'm sure you'll absolutely smash it next year. You really will.
And just what you mentioned about the U3A, they're very well organised, an oiled machine, so to speak. Do you find that the U3A members try to sort of keep to themselves a bit? It likes to be like a separate walking tennis compared to everybody else, or is that what you're finding?
Yeah, yes and no. The U3A, certainly around here, they like to control what happens in their name. Which is fine. I understand that, which is why they were fairly keen on a dedicated U3A walking tennis group. It also allows them to advertise it as well for their members, because they have members at the end of the day. If they can offer new and different things for them to try, then it's good for them, which is fabulous. The other issue here, which was a little bit more political, is that certainly in Worcestershire, the U3A are not allowed to charge for any of the groups that they do. So what happens is that there are, I don't know, 150 U3A members in Worcester, just making the numbers up if I'm honest. One of those is an ex-tennis player, and one of those sets up the walking tennis group, and they do it because they're a member of the U3A. And then his wife is a pottery, and she does the pottery class, again, because she's a member of the U3A. So they were not allowed to charge anything for their tennis sessions. So when I set it up, I charge everybody at the park £3. I don't care if they're 3 or 103. Everybody pays £3 to come and have a go at the park because it covers the insurance and the balls and everything else. There is a cost when you're running tennis sessions. So it was a bit black and white with me, and they did let me charge at the end of the day until such a point, which happened about 3 months ago, where one of the ladies was happy enough then to keep the group running as a U3, as a pure U3A group, if you like. And they now have 8 to 10 members. 2 or 3 of those transition between my group and the U3A group. Unfortunately, the U3A group won't let any of my Friday players join their U3A group on a Wednesday unless they join the U3A. They're a little bit hard like that. Yes. But there's no friction. It doesn't really cause any issue. That anything that's going on, I invite their players like I invite my own players. They've met each other at the various sort of inter-club or inter-county tournaments that we've done, and it works. But they are, I think you just need to know where the land lies, and then you can make it work with them. But you do need to, well, certainly around here, that they do need to feel as if they're in control. But I do get that if it's got their brand on. On the other side of the coin, I found them quite bad at actually advertising it. They put it on their list of, I think we've got, when I looked at their directory here, they've got something like about 48 different activities they do for their members. So we became number 49, but they don't push it. They don't push anything, if I'm honest. They just have their directory. But what happened with me, eventually, you find a U3A member who is very keen on it. Again, I think a number of times this has come out in the earlier conversations. That individual, or those 2 individuals, have then spoken to others, and all of a sudden you've got a group.
Yeah. Rob, did you want to come in there? You got your hand up?
Yeah, thanks. You said that the U3A aren't allowed to charge, but how does that work for the club then?
Well, I'm lucky I'm in a park, so I have no court overheads as such. So my only overheads are equipment and insurance. So, but you're absolutely right. You know, why should they get it for free if they are using a club facility? You know, and that was the conversation I had with them. Basically, there is a cost in hosting or carrying out an activity. So again, if I go back to maybe the sort of art side, they do a lot of art stuff, art, painting, poetry, pottery, etc., etc. So pottery is probably the best example. Whenever they do their pottery, and I don't know where they do it, they pay for the materials, but by all accounts, they buy their own and take it with them. So, which you can't do. You know, you can't each bring 2 tennis balls, can you, when you go and play tennis?
Yeah.
So what are you saying, that you allow them to come and use your courts free of charge then?
Yes, but I don't have a cost for my courts because I'm in a park.
Yeah. Having spoken to the U3A, I think they said as long as it's around about, well, sub £5. So
yeah,
I mean,
that's interesting to hear. Yeah, it does not surprise me that there are.
Yeah, we charge £4. We charge £4 at Mepham. Does anybody else have a membership only for walking tennis players? Or Laura, do you want to come in?
No, sorry, I was coming back in on the U3A because prior to COVID, we just set up at the club a group called Bat and Chat, which I approached the U3A for.
I need to talk to your marketing department, definitely.
I am it.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Which meant that they could come, Rosemary, who's here, would let them use the rackets if they didn't have any. We have table tennis inside. So this was before COVID, and since then we've got 2 new clay courts and everything. But and so they came and had a bat and a chat, and we charged them, I think it was like a £5, and for that they got coffee, biscuits, and they went on court. And what it did was actually use some of the courts at the quiet time.
Yeah, perfect.
So it was a bit of a win-win situation. Sadly, as we all know, things broke down for a couple of years. But Rosemary and I have spoken, and in fact, I've spoken to the U3A, and you're quite right. They do just have a listing, but also the other way to do it from the marketing department is to write an article. If they're always short of articles, but they're magazines and they like a bit of gossip. So that's another way to get in. Well, particularly down here in Tunbridge Wells, they're very happy to receive things.
by the sound of it, you don't suffer from the same constraints that we do in Worcestershire. Then that they are a little more open to paying for an activity, which, as I say, they should.
Well, it's a dual thing because we've got quite a good clubhouse now. We've had new bifold windows and what have you. And in fact, the computer group use us, use our building, and we charge them about 10 quid an hour. And the science group, so they are using our clubhouse for things. So we're having a relationship.
Oh, that's nice.
That way.
Very good.
Does anybody have a walking tennis? Tracy, do you want to come in there on the U3A at all?
Yeah. When I was speaking to James initially, we've done the same thing. We've created a walking tennis membership, and because we started in October, I think we introduced it as £40 until the end of March. But anybody who isn't a member and would like to try it, they can come along for 4 trial sessions initially for £5 each go. And people have done that and then subsequently become members. But going back to Laura's question about U3A, I had an email from our contact locally, and they were going to put an article in their newsletter, and she's come back and said yesterday there was some indecision with the committee, so I haven't put anything in this month's newsletter. If we offer it to U3A members, they would expect it to be under the U3A umbrella, a listed group for anyone to join with a member as a leader. They would be happy to pay a set weekly amount, but not to join another club. Our membership for any class they want to do is £35 per year. We pay the rental for the Tin Tabernacle in Hythe, for example, and the light railway, and a few outside halls for the membership, which currently runs around 800. We would be happy to advertise it for you, or if you want to drop any leaflets off for our coffee mornings, we'll do that for you. So they are very interested in working with us, and they are prepared to pay, but I think it's down to local groups.
I think it depends on your local community.
So I think what we will be doing in the spring, I got a feeling we'll be opening up 4 courts for them, U3A, possibly on a Friday afternoon. Because at the moment, I'm only doing it off-peak times to try and get our court usage up during off-peak times. So the current session's been 11:30 and 1, and I'm thinking of running another one between 2 and 3:30 on a Friday in the spring.
Okay.
It just uses up that little time when maybe there's not too much about.
Yes.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely, yeah.
So does anybody else have a walking tennis membership as such, or do you mainly do it pay and play? Sorry, Janice, far away.
Haven't you put a message in the chat to say that only club members are playing walking tennis at their club at the moment?
Right, okay.
I think we've got to be careful about that. Well, I know we're just having the same issue with pickleball, because we've got one pickleball court with 2 courts on, if you know what I mean. And we've got to have a little conflab about what we do about this separate type of membership. But I think with the babies in the group here, so we've got a lot to find out.
David, was that you?
They have to be members after a couple of free visits. They can come see if they enjoy it, then they've got to join the club, and that's been the trouble. We've contacted U3A, we've had no feedback. They want to be in control.
Yes.
And in fact, our Age UK, Parkinson's have been, maybe it's a particularly Thanet thing, but we just have had virtually no feedback, and no one's come from them.
No.
But I'll have to get back and annoy them.
It's a learning curve, really, isn't it, for all of us?
Absolutely.
Colleen?
We have a group round here called Next Door, and we can put on anything relating to what's happening round about the area. So every now and again we do advertise the walking tennis on the Next Door app, and I think you'll probably find that for the rest of you there is a Next Door app near you worth having a look at.
Okay, thank you.
If I may come in, Andy, just
fine, Graham. Yes.
So we're very lucky with our U3A lady, because she's so efficient, and as I say, they run it, and as the gentleman just said, they like everything to be under their umbrella. We don't mind that. As I say, anyone who comes to our club and is interested in walking tennis, we refer them to U3A, because they run. We don't.
So they run it for you.
And what we don't, as you know, Andy, we don't have separate memberships. Our membership fees can include tennis, tennis, paddle, and pickleball. So it's just a thought anyway.
Yeah. Rob, I'm going to put you on the spot now, actually. So can you tell the group the other benefits from walking tennis players and what we found at Mepham?
Me, you mean?
No, I'm going to ask Rob if that's okay.
Oh, Rob, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. From our club experience, I say there's a smile on their face every week. We've had initially probably about 18 people came to our first open day. About 3 have joined as full members. So they come to other club functions. There's the benefits, you know, we've also found, just as Andy's put me on the spot, we've also found that they've invited friends. Some of their grandchildren are now on our junior program. As a couple of speakers have said, some of these people have social isolation, so this is an outing for them. I know one lady has came along for our Macmillan coffee morning, and she brought a fantastic cake. You know, no reason she's other than just she just enjoys being at the club, and as she said, she calls it her tennis fix. So I come away from those sessions with a smile on my face, and I'm facilitating those sessions. I'm not a coach, but I facilitate those sessions. And I would say, as part of our community outreach, to use that expression, it is a very rewarding thing for me, let alone for the others. So it's been a really positive experience. We other than the 3 people that have joined, we actually do it's £4, as Andy says, and it's literally pay and play. And then there's a couple of us just facilitate that for the time being. So it's a great success. As I say, I come off that with a smile on my face every week. So great success.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, I was just going to say, reiterate to Rob, you know, it's worth talking to your walking tennis players about their children, their grandchildren. And I said, if you can get their grandchildren on the coaching program at your clubs, then it just opens up opportunities, and you'll find that those committees are quite happy suddenly to speak to you if they can see there's a benefit for, you know, generations really at your club, which is great. Yeah. So yeah, David, do you want to come in? You're on mute.
Yeah. Sorry, do you provide the kit for the U3A or these Mepham?
Mepham,
no.
It's a bit hit and miss, David. It's mainly
Sounds like my tennis.
Yeah. Mainly, you know, they borrowed a racket off their daughter who played 20 years ago. It's all of that sort of story.
I've had to re-grip a few, that's for sure.
We've had to re-grip a few. You know, some people have got totally inappropriate racket grip size, but we get there in the end.
And you provide the balls?
We provide the balls. If anything, the only thing I really do probably encourage them is footwear, because any court surface which is slightly slippery, etc., I just want their footwear to be as good as it can be.
Thanks.
Yeah. At this point, I just want to invite Siobhan Butler, who's on the call with us. She's on the competitions committee at Kent Tennis, and she'd like to probably gauge your thoughts on walking tennis leagues, if that's okay. Siobhan, over to you.
Hello. Sorry I was a bit late, but I managed to hear quite a few bits about who's where, so it's great to meet you all. Yeah, we're very keen in Kent to put on a walking tennis league, if there's an appetite for it out there. We thought we would run it in the summer next year. Had no idea really the format of it. So I had a chat with James, who's on the call, and we've got a proposal, and I don't know if I'd love some views on this. We thought it would be midweek, so ideally it'd be vets 40 plus. But then James did say not many people under 40 play walking tennis, so it probably is a given that it would be 40 plus. we definitely regionalise it. So we'd look to have North Kent, West Kent and East Kent leagues within the Kent League. We were thinking mixed teams of 4, with the format being fast 4 matches. And that's as far as we got really, but that's the main gist of it.
Do you want to explain fast forward to some of the people that maybe don't know how fast forward works?
Sure.
Yeah.
So fast 4 is a shortened version of the normal tennis sets to 6. It's the sets to 4. If you get to 3-all, you do a tie break to 7. And the last set is a match tie break to 10 points. So it's quite a shortened version of best of 3 tie break sets. So in theory, for juniors, it takes probably about 45 minutes for a match. But I don't know how long that would take in walking tennis. I've only ever played it once.
Yeah. So what's people's thoughts on that? Would you like to sort of start with, maybe friendlies for next year, and you sort those out between yourselves? Would you like Kent to maybe organise a league and just regionalise it? I mean, it could be only three or 4 teams each region, really. But I just wonder what the appetite and the thought is on this forum, really.
Well, one of our players has already asked me about leagues, and then funnily enough, I got the email from Siobhan last week. So I went back to her today and said it's something that Kent are looking at. I'll possibly find out more on tonight's call. So I think there is some interest, not many of our group of 14, but there is some interest. And I think if we could do it regionally to begin with, and just friendlies, because as somebody mentioned on the call earlier on, one of the biggest factors or pull factors for this is it's so relaxed. There's no commitment to being regular players. They just come along and literally hit a ball, meet some people, have a laugh, and have a cup of tea and a slice of cake once a week. And it's just such a great social environment.
Yes. Yeah. Neil, when you do that in Hereford and Worcestershire, if you do have like a friendly, is it like mixed? I know you said you sort of mix players around, so it can be same sexes or mixed matches as well. I'm just sort of thinking out loud. If you only had four players going to another team or another venue, is that enough? With only 4,
we did run the one inter-county, which was us versus Shropshire versus Cheshire, and that was done on a team of 6 from each county. Cheshire took it very seriously. In fact, they actually had inter-club matches in the true sense of the word to come up with their county team. I sent people with a pulse, as did Shropshire. And I forget it. Yeah, I mean, it was okay. Everybody enjoyed it, but it was competitive. It was semi-serious. I mean, Cheshire absolutely smashed it. I mean, it was but that aside, we still managed to make it fun. I certainly still managed to make it fun because I could see what was happening. The other ones that we've done that they just have been a rip-roaring success are the friendlies. That's all I can say because we've certainly around here the appetite for that competitiveness, that seriousness of travelling to another club, playing a set number of matches, if you like, and then travelling back. I mean, I know even regular tennis, you still have the social afterwards. That's not there. Again, around here, it's not there. It's not certainly the same in Shropshire, but to be fair, in Cheshire, they seem to be very competitive. I could see them setting a league up next year themselves. But overall, it seems to come back to this social aspect of as I think the word somebody said earlier, hitting a few balls, meeting some new people, having a laugh, and having the social side afterwards. I am fairly sure next year, because of the amount of people that we've now got involved across the counties that I've got to know, I am sure there will be 4 or 6 people out of those counties that want to do a serious tournament. And if there is, we'll put one on for them and they can come and do that. But I would certainly, again, from what I've experienced, that would be the exception rather than the rule. The friendlies have worked fantastically well. I am sure down your way, like in my county, you know each other's clubs, you know the clubhouse, you know if you go to these places, the cake is going to be phenomenal because you know your local club and your local area. Interestingly enough, a lot of walking tennis players who are new to tennis don't know that. So when I go to Tennis Club A up the road from me, and I know that I've been playing there for 40 years or more, going there for matches and things over the years. I know when you see that name on the fixture list, you're right, great, we're in for a great time, and away we go. When you take a group of new people, walking tennis players that have never experienced that before, and they get that social aspect as well, afterwards it's like, that club was amazing. What a nice bunch of people, fantastic. That seems to be the way it's been successful. I mean, the last county one we did, which was only 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think we had Helen came to actually. Helen Abbott came because she wanted to see how it worked. And her words to me were, this is how I see walking tennis, Neil. This is just as I see walking tennis. We had 32 people from 3 different counties, all mixing and mingling, all playing tennis. Yes, we had a couple of individual winners at the end with the cheap medals and a bit of a laugh, but it was very, very social. Now, again, it could be different locally. I don't know, but I can only go on the experiences that we've had. Would I like a league in Worcestershire? I think I probably would, because there are enough players, I think, to do it. But you add in the organisation, you add in what happens if it's raining, you add all of the usual business with organising leagues, and it's probably, certainly around here, a little bit too much effort for the benefit that people will get out of it when we have a wonderful group of clubs that can organise their own matches between them and their own events between them.
Yeah, fine. Rob, do you want to come in now?
Yeah, to answer Siobhan's question about the leagues, I mentioned this at the North Kent AGM last month, is that our players, they can play, I always say to them, they can play for longer if they want to, but they don't really play for more than an hour. So going into if there was 4 in a team and they played 2 fast 4 things and it lasting a bit longer, I don't know, because I haven't really asked them, but I'm not sure how that would work. And what Neil said about the sort of friendly side of it, I mean, that they're all of my players. The older one, he's pretty keen to have some competition, I think, because he's done that in the past as a tennis player, but the others would just be up for mixing in. I think maybe play with someone from our club, and then afterwards mix in and play with someone from another club. And Lisa, Sundridge Park, I'm sure we could get a friendly organised at some point if you want to.
Okay, Rob, thank you. Daphne?
I don't know if it's been raised, but it was mentioned when we were talking about leagues at Bexley the other day, that you could perhaps have not teams of 4, but teams of 6 with rolling players, because I mean, sometimes if you've got heart problems or breathing problems, you get taken short in the middle of a game. So, if you had somebody standing by that could take over, it would be good.
Yeah, fair point. Rob Slater?
Just on the gender and the mixed, I'd say at Mepham, we've probably got a 75-25 mix, ladies higher. I think that goes with women live longer. So in any sort of match, and I'm going possibly to James or anyone who's played these, do you follow a strict 2 men, 2 ladies, or 3 men, 3 ladies, or because I could envisage us struggling to get the 2 men consistently?
No, I can answer that from the one that we did. We kept it to ladies or mixed, so no men, no pairs of men.
Right. Okay.
Janice?
Yeah, there's another message in the chat. It says I suggest we don't limit this to vets. The joy of walking tennis is that it is inclusive. If an under 40 is recovering, say, from a hamstring injury, why should they not join in until they are fit again?
That's a very good point. And the reality of walking tennis, as everybody on this call has probably seen, is that there's no major advantage to having a younger person on court. They can hit the ball harder, faster. You can't move quicker because walking within reason is walking. So, yeah, I do agree with that. And I've got a couple of 30, 35-year-olds that play weekly. I don't mind saying, because I'm not mentioning names, that have quite serious weight issues, and that's why they're doing it as exercise. So yeah, you're right.
Actually, Nick from Bexley Mencat, it'd be good to hear your thoughts on that, because if you've got someone who's got a learning disability that is under 40, for instance, that plays walking tennis, then they might want to play a bit of competition, and certainly if they're over 40, they potentially would be excluded.
Yeah, it's a mix with the learning disability element. Our group members range from about mid-20s to late 50s. Ideally, it's good for maintaining concentration, hand-eye coordination as well, the repetition and the format, the routine as well. At the moment, we're playing mainly socially. We did organise, as Andy knows, a couple of events in the summer as part of National Learning Disability Week, and then a match play event with the LTA as well, where we had an outreach element to local care centres as well. So we got people from care centres coming, wheelchair bound and otherwise, people who'd not played before. And I think a lot of the activities coordinators that came from the care homes could really see the benefit of a walking tennis element, although we were connected to a club, but they could see that walking tennis was something they weren't doing in the care homes themselves as an activity. So I can see some of them potentially going to local clubs or local leagues and organising that. From our perspective, I guess, because of involving parents and carers and transport issues, we're happy to play games socially ourselves, but also in the limited element play with other learning disability groups where we can organise transport and other links are available. But we're aiming really to extend it to day centres and other related learning disability groups. We have a sports disability network in Bexley, so we're an active member of that. So we're going across the sort of disability ranges to sort of go laterally, probably, Andy, sort of within the borough of Bexley, but also to extend that as a partner organisation, to extend the sort of disability range, not just for learning disability, but other disability related groups, and extend the sort of tennis function offering there. I think that's probably where we're going as a Mencat group, because we are affiliated to the local club, but we aren't a club in itself. We have other sporting activities, but the focus is not really tennis as such, but tennis is the largest and biggest of our sort of outward physical activity sort of sports programs.
Yes, yeah, fine. So just if I don't mind, a show of hands, either virtually or if you can click on your screen, who would be interested in playing some kind of league tennis next summer at your club? Two, three, 4, 5. I think. Oh, James, is that your hand up for you as well? Is it?
Yeah. Can I?
Yeah.
Can I just make a couple of points?
Yeah, fine.
Do you mind? I'm listening very intently with great interest. It seems to me that the nub of the discussion is about competitiveness in a way, and there's no point hiding from it. I think you either are competitive and you want to play competitively, which doesn't mean that you can't have fun.
Yes.
And you can't have a social life, and you can't benefit psychologically, and you can't benefit socially. And the other part of the conversation I'm picking up on is that walking tennis, for one reason or another, is seen as inferior to social tennis or to any other type of tennis, which I also appreciate. I'm a tennis player, I'm a pickleball player, I was a good footballer, I'm a rugby player. I take all that in hand, but I think if we say no to the idea of a league on the basis that it's going to be competitive and that walking tennis isn't competitive, that's a mistake, because there are a number of people that I'm playing with who are ex-sportsmen, not necessarily tennis players. I have a couple of minor league footballers, for instance, who have to retire early, who play and are extremely competitive. I mean, David will vouch for this, that when we had our matches against Broadstairs, we were very competitive. There's nothing wrong with it. You can still have fantastic fun. And I think when you get to a certain maturity of life, you accept that you can have fun and still lose.
Yes.
So I do think we've been very careful to say no to it. I'm all for giving it a go, and I'm not saying it's going to be a roaring success and you may not get sufficient numbers. But from my experience with the guys and the girls that I'm working with, there are those who have never played tennis before, who have picked up a racket and just love the game and could just be as competitive as you or I. And there are those who are a bit worried about it, but actually, when they gain confidence, they might will enjoy the competitive nature of a game. So I don't think it is just about fun. This year, we introduced for the very first time a mixed doubles competition. So we had 16 couples drawn out of a hat. And we had people who were really, really worried about playing in a competition. But we forced them into it. I did force them into it. I said, go on, give it a go, give it a go. What have you got to lose? And I really assure you that it was a complete and utter success. Even the ones who were so nervous, they didn't want to get shown up. They didn't want to think, oh gosh, tomorrow I've got to play this match. They went through it. They had enormous support from everybody who was there. They played bad shots, they missed balls. Well, we all do that. But at the end of the day, they felt so much better for having gone through that process.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's all I would bring to it. I don't have firm view that it's going to be a fantastic success or whatever, but I think it would be a shame not to give it a go. And certainly within the 30 or 40 that I'm working with, we would have 10, 15 that would jump at it.
Yeah, I mean, as I said at MEPM, we probably haven't got the numbers at the moment, and the people that we have got playing walk-in tennis are sort of coming back to tennis, so they're quite nervous as well, Rob, as you sort of say, and it's almost that they want to be sure that they're hitting the ball correctly, that they're having fun, that they are sure on their feet as well at the moment, let alone if we start to sort of saying it's an inter-club competition. And my dad plays bowls and has done for years, and he's 90, but he skips out the door to play bowls, and primarily he's going there to have fun and socialise. He's not even thinking it's a competition at all. And I'd like to think that hopefully it's going to be the same way with the tennis a bit, really, that people are going to be going to venues to hopefully just enjoy themselves as you should do playing a sport, and not necessarily think it as a competition. Yeah, Siobhan.
Yeah, on that competition side of things, I've been coaching for 32 years, and often I hear people say, "Oh, I'm not competitive," but actually they are.
Yeah,
people say it, but I think they still are. But also, obviously it's a choice. If we do have a league, then people can choose whether to do it or not.
Yeah. And I think I totally agree with Robert. But the other point is, of course, if you're trying to gain, if it's respect from other tennis members, the story of the lady who was retiring and wouldn't touch walking tennis because it was walking tennis, even though she was unable to run. If you're trying to make a point, then why not introduce it?
Yeah. Siobhan?
I saw some hands. Can I just ask if you to name your venues, please? Because I'm not matching you up to your venues, just so I can get a feel.
So you can raise your hands again if you are interested in joining a league.
I have got that information, Siobhan.
Oh, perfect. You're on it.
Yeah.
Super. Thanks very much. Lisa, did you want to come in as sort of North Kent at all, from your perspective?
Could I just say, Can I just say, I think we could be. I just feel we're not ready at the minute to be competitive. I think, you know, maybe in a year's time, if you ask me that, I think we just need to get, I haven't put my hand up because I just think we just need to get it going a bit more. And then, you know, I can try and find if people are, and then we would. So I'm not saying yes at the minute, and I'm not saying no forever. I'm just think we're not quite ready at the minute.
Yeah, sorry, Lisa. I thought you had your hand up about sort of 15 minutes ago.
Oh, sorry, no, it's fine. But actually, just a little bit of feedback from Sunbridge Park, actually, because I asked our coach to find out whether people would be interested in playing competitively. Playing in a league that was set up either through North Kent and Kent. I think some of the people, there's about 50-50 men and women, as I said, maybe 8 to 10 people, but they said they'd be quite interested. Some are have been non-tennis players. Their feedback was that they would not want to travel too far. So obviously, if you're talking about sort of regionalising leagues, then obviously that would be a good idea. As part of the North Kent, on behalf of North Kent, when John Radcliffe spoke about this at the AGM, he did talk about being able to substitute players, so maybe having teams of 6.
Yes.
Because obviously people are playing walking tennis because they have injuries or are older, they may tire, and I think it is something that you probably would need to do, because you wouldn't want to go somewhere and then to find out that perhaps a couple of the players can't continue. You know,
that's a good point.
Yeah, and to have other people kind of mix in, but yeah, I think it's a great idea that, you know, talk about playing against other clubs, but also mixing in with each other as well, because you know, that's great. I mean, our Sundridge, it is about the social. They probably are competitive, but definitely from a social point of view, it's something, as I say, our ex-club chairman who has Parkinson's, it is something that he can do once a week, you know, just have fun with other people. And for him, you know, as a sort of mental and physical aspect, it's just amazing.
Fantastic. Colleen?
Yes, some of our more able players would want to maybe play competitively, because while they can't necessarily move, they can certainly spin a ball.
Yeah. No,
but surely you can play. You can play competitively, irrespective.
Yeah,
it's a matter of leveling out.
I
fear. I've got some players who are very limited in ability, if you're going to say that, but can they not play against other players who are also limited in ability?
Yes, of course. It just depends.
So I'm thinking from the league's point of view. I mean, would it be different? Would it just be a single division, or would you have, you know, first division, second division, third division? That's what you have to think about as well.
Yeah. I don't think there's probably enough teams at the moment. So I think it probably would be just regionalised with, say, 3 or 4 teams in it. But as I said, the idea is if we can get to 30 teams by sort of next summer, then you know, it's looking very different. And as Neil said, I mean, Neil's got 170 players over 10 clubs. You know, I don't think we've probably got that as many players in our 18 clubs yet. So I know at Mepham we've only got 4 or 5 regulars. So, you know, potentially they would be interested in playing matches, but we just wouldn't have the numbers at the moment. So we would be letting a lot of teams down when the fixture list came out. But yeah, Rob?
Yeah, a thought came to me that a sort of combination of what Neil was saying and the combination of having a league is that potentially we could start it off with having all the clubs that were interested all getting together and having like a a festival where they all play and meet each other, and then the league continues on from there.
I've just come off
a
mute.
very low key mix in,
Yeah.
play a little bit, have a cup of tea, and then maybe mix it. You know, just
I've just come off mute to say exactly the same thing. I think if you've got 4 or 5 clubs that want to try it, then do a tournament, do a competitive tournament, and see how it goes.
Yeah,
you know, I think you come back. It is the comment about the different abilities is interesting. It sort of doesn't work like that in leagues and matches. You generally have your team, and that's your team, and you can also have individuals that those of us that got experience with Parkinson's, I've heard that mentioned a couple of times. I do. You know, you can have people that have good days, bad days. You can have people that have good hours and bad hours. When you are then moving that into a competitive league-based competition, that's where I think sometimes I agree with it. It can be competitive and it can be fun. Comment, totally agree with that. But it can just be a little tricky. But I think the idea of doing a tennis festival or whatever you want to call it, and making that competitive and inviting clubs to send 6 players and just see how that goes, that would be a great start. I think it will answer all of your questions as well in one go.
Yeah. So that's what I'm sort of hearing, Siobhan, at the moment. That probably a friendly walking tennis festival through the summer, and invite the clubs that do want to attend maybe to one location, and maybe 3 or 4 of those during the summer, maybe a way in to start off with until we build up the amount of players and more clubs, really.
Definitely. Yeah, that's really, really good and interesting feedback. So it's definitely something to think about. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, and swapping in players as well seems to be, quite a common theme that I'm hearing as well. Yeah,
and there's a comparison to. There is a comparison to pickleball at the moment in that sense, in that they have, for instance, in Kent we have the East Kent Pickleball League, and there they have exactly that, a festival, which allows different teams at different standards all to play each other, and they're incredibly popular. I know they're happening all over the country, but it's an interesting comparison. How the model could be something that you might want to take and look at.
Yeah, who wouldn't want to go to David's Club at Broadstairs in the summer when the sun's shining? It's 30-degree heat. Fantastic.
I think that you might be. I'll be a bit conservative here. Maybe the process of walking tennis needs to evolve a bit further, to grow a bit further, to get sure you've got the critical mass of players to have leagues. I think leagues would be a great idea. I'm not sure next summer whether we're going to have that right number of players. They've got to be started sometime. And also I think that central of being selfish here, from Broadstairs everywhere is a long way. So if you're going to stick it down in everything happens in West Kent, we know that. So that's not going to help, but it needs to be localized.
Yeah, a regional walking tennis festival, something like that. As I said, there was 3 regions. Yeah. Okay, no, that's fine. Does anybody want to add anything else to the walking tennis forum tonight before we wrap up? No, super. Well, that's nearly an hour and 45 minutes spent talking about walking tennis, and